हेलो एवरीवन, वेलकम टू द लाइव क्लास। तो आज हम पढ़ेंगे एनसीईआरटी ज्योग्राफी क्लास 12 चैप्टर नंबर 5 प्राइमरी एक्टिविटीज़। तो शुरू करते हैं। Human activities which generate income are known as economic activities. Economic activities are broadly grouped into primary, secondary, tertiary, and quaternary activities. Primary activities are directly dependent on environment as these refer to utilization of Earth's resources such as land, water, vegetation, building materials, and minerals. It thus includes hunting, gathering, pastoral activities, fishing, forestry, agriculture, and mining and quarrying. Why are the inhabitants of coastal and plain regions engaged in fishing and agriculture respectively? What are the physical and social factors which affect the type of primary activities in different regions? Do you know people engaged in primary activities are called red collar workers due to the outdoor nature of their work? Hunting and gathering. The earliest human beings depended on their immediate environment for their sustenance. They subsisted on animals which they hunted and the edible plants which they gathered from the forest in the vicinity. Primitive societies depended on wild animals. People located in very cold and extremely hot climates survived on hunting. The people in the coastal areas still catch fish, though fishing has experienced modernization due to technological progress. Many species now have become extinct or endangered due to illegal hunting or poaching. The early hunters used primitive tools made of stones, twigs, or arrows, so the number of animals killed was limited. Why has hunting been banned in India? Gathering and hunting are the oldest economic activity known. These are carried out at different levels with different orientations. Gathering is practiced in regions with harsh climatic conditions. It often involves primitive societies who extract both plants and animals to satisfy their needs for food, shelter, and clothing. This type of activity requires a small amount of capital investment and operates at very low level of technology. The yield per person is very low and little or no surplus is produced. Gathering is practiced in high latitude zones which include northern Canada, northern Eurasia, and southern Chile. Low latitude zones such as Amazon basin, tropical Africa, northern fringe of Australia, and the interior parts of Southeast Asia. In modern times, some gathering is market oriented and has become commercial. Gatherers collect valuable plants such as leaves, barks of trees, and medicinal plants, and after simple processing, sell the products in the market. They use various parts of the plant. For example, the bark is used for quinine, tannin extract, and cork. Leaves supply materials for beverages, drugs, cosmetics, fibers, starch, and fabrics. Nuts for food and oils, and tree trunk yield rubber, balta, gums, and resins. Do you know the name of the part of the chewing gum after the flavor is gone? It is called chicle. It is made from a milky juice of chapota tree. Gathering has little chance of becoming important at the global level. Products of such an activity cannot compete in the world market. Moreover, synthetic products, often of better quality at lower prices, have replaced many items supplied by the gatherers in tropical forest. Pastoralism. At some stage in history, with the realization that hunting is an unsustainable activity, human beings might have thought of domestication of animals. People living in different climatic conditions selected and domesticated animals found in those regions. Depending on the geographical factors and technological development, animal rearing today is practiced either at the subsistence or the commercial level. Herding. Nomadic herding or pastoral nomadism is a primitive subsistence activity in which the herders rely on animals for food, clothing, shelter, tools, and transport. They move from one place to another along with their livestock depending on the amount and quality of pastures and water. Each nomadic community occupies a well identified territory as a matter of tradition. A wide variety of animals is kept in different regions. In tropical Africa, cattle are the most important livestock, while in Sahara and Asiatic deserts, sheep, goats, and camel are reared. In the mountainous area of Tibet and Andes, yak and llamas, and in the Arctic and subarctic areas, reindeer are the most important animals. Pastoral nomadism is associated with three important regions. The core region extends from the Atlantic shores of North Africa eastwards across the Arabian Peninsula into Mongolia and central China. The second region extends over the tundra region of Eurasia. In the southern hemisphere, there are small areas in southwest Africa and on the islands of Madagascar. Movement in search of pastures is undertaken either over vast horizontal distances or vertically from one elevation to another in the mountainous region. The process of migration from plain areas to pastures on mountains during summers and again from mountain pastures to plain areas during winters is known as transhumance. In mountain regions such as Himalayas, Gujars, Bakarwals, Gadis, and Bhotias migrate from plains to mountains in summer and to the plains from high altitude pastures in the winters. Similarly, in the tundra regions, the nomadic herders move from south to north in summers and from north to south in winters. The number of pastoral nomads has been decreasing and the areas operated by them shrinking. This is due to imposition of political boundaries, new settlement plans by different countries. Commercial livestock rearing. Unlike nomadic herding, commercial livestock rearing is more organized and capital intensive. Commercial livestock ranching is essentially associated with Western cultures and is practiced on permanent ranches. These ranches cover large areas and are divided into a number of parcels which are fenced to regulate the grazing. When the grass of one parcel is grazed, animals are moved to another parcel. The number of animals in a pasture is kept according to the carrying capacity of the pasture. This is a specialized activity in which only one type of animal is reared. Important animals include sheep, cattle, goats, and horses. Products such as meat, wool, hides, and skin are processed and packed scientifically and exported to different world markets. Rearing of animals in ranching is organized on a scientific basis. The main emphasis is on breeding, genetic improvement, disease control, and health care of the animals. New Zealand, Australia, Argentina, Uruguay, and United States of America are important countries where commercial livestock rearing is practiced. Reindeer rearing in the northern regions of Alaska, where most of the Eskimos own about two-thirds of the stock. Agriculture. Agriculture is practiced under multiple combination of physical and socio-economic conditions, which gives rise to different types of agricultural systems. Based on methods of farming, different types of crops are grown and livestock raised. The following are the main agricultural systems. Subsistence agriculture. Subsistence agriculture is one in which the farming areas consume all or nearly so of the product locally grown. It can be grouped into two categories: primitive subsistence agriculture and intensive subsistence agriculture. Primitive subsistence agriculture. Primitive subsistence agriculture or shifting cultivation is widely practiced by many tribes in the tropics, especially in Africa, South and Central America, and Southeast Asia. The vegetation is usually cleared by fire and the ashes add to the fertility of the soil. Shifting cultivation is thus also called slash and burn agriculture. The cultivated patches are very small and cultivation is done with very primitive tools such as sticks and hoes. After sometimes 3 to 5 years, the soil loses its fertility and the farmer shifts to another part and clears other patch of the forest for cultivation. The farmer may return to the earlier patch after some time. One of the major problems of shifting cultivation is that the cycle of jhum becomes less and less due to loss of fertility in different parcels. It is prevalent in tropical regions in the different names, example Jhuming in northeastern states of India, Milpa in Central Africa and Mexico and Ladakh in Indonesia and Malaysia. Find out other areas and the names with which shifting cultivation is done. Intensive subsistence agriculture. This type of agriculture is largely found in densely populated regions of monsoon Asia. Basically, Basically, there are two types of intensive subsistence agriculture. Intensive subsistence agriculture dominated by wet paddy cultivation. This type of agriculture is characterized by dominance of the rice crop. Land holdings are very small due to high density of the population. Farmers work with the help of family labor, leading to intensive use of land. Use of machinery is limited and most of the agricultural operations are done by manual labor. Farmyard manure is used to maintain the fertility of the soil. In this type of agriculture, the yield per unit area is high, but per labor productivity is low. Intensive subsistence agriculture dominated by crops other than paddy. Due to the difference in relief, climate, soil, and some of the other geographical factors, it is not practical to grow paddy in many parts of monsoon Asia. Wheat, soya bean, barley, and sorghum are grown in northern China, Manchuria, North Korea, and North Japan. In India, wheat is grown in western parts of the Indo-Gangetic plains and millets are grown in dry parts of western and southern India. Most of the characteristics of this type of agriculture are similar to those dominated by wet paddy except that irrigation is often used. The Europeans colonized many parts in the world and they introduced some other forms of agriculture such as plantations which were mainly profit oriented large scale production systems. Plantation agriculture. Plantation agriculture, as mentioned above, was introduced by Europeans in colonies situated in the tropics. Some of the important plantation crops are tea, coffee, cocoa, rubber, cotton, oil palm, sugarcane, bananas, and pineapples. The characteristic feature of this type of farming are large estates or plantations. Large capital investment, managerial and technical support, scientific methods of cultivation, single crop specialization, cheap labor, and a good system of transportation which links the estates to the factories and markets for the export of the products. The French established cocoa and coffee plantation in West Africa. The British set up large tea gardens in India and Sri Lanka. Rubber plantations in Malaysia and sugarcane and banana plantation in West Indies. Spanish and Americans invested heavily in coconut and sugarcane plantation in the Philippines. The Dutch once had monopoly over sugarcane plantation in Indonesia. Some coffee fazendas, large plantations in Brazil, are still managed by Europeans. Today, ownership of the majority of plantation has passed into the hands of the government or the nationals of the countries concerned. The slopes of the hills are used for tea plantation because of favorable geographical conditions. Extensive commercial grain cultivation. Commercial grain cultivation is practiced in the interior parts of semi-arid lands of the mid-latitudes. Wheat is the principal crop, though other crops like corn, barley, oats, and rye are also grown. The size of the farm is very large, therefore, entire operation of cultivation from plowing to harvesting are mechanized. There is low yield per acre but high yield per person. Why does this happen? This type of agriculture is best developed in Eurasian steppes, the Canadian and American prairies, and the pampas of Argentina, the velds of South Africa, the Australian Downs, and the Canterbury Plains of New Zealand. Mixed farming. This form of agriculture is found in highly developed parts of the world, example northwestern Europe, eastern North America, parts of Eurasia, and the temperate latitudes of the southern continents. Mixed farms are moderate in size and usually the crops associated with it are wheat, barley, oats, rye, maize, fodder, and root crops. Fodder crops are an important component of mixed farming. Crop rotation and intercropping play an important role in maintaining soil fertility. Equal emphasis is laid on crop cultivation and animal husbandry. Animals like cattle, sheep, pigs, and poultry provide the main income along with crops. Mixed farming is characterized by high capital expenditure on farm machinery and building, extensive use of chemical fertilization and green manures, and also by the skill and expertise of the farmers. Dairy farming. Dairy is the most advanced and efficient type of rearing of milch animals. It is highly capital intensive. Animal sheds, storage facilities for fodder, feeding and milking machines add to the cost of dairy farming. Special emphasis is laid on cattle breeding, health care, and veterinary services. It is highly labor intensive as it involves rigorous care in feeding and milking. There is no off season during the year as in the case of crop raising. It is practiced mainly near urban and industrial centers which provide neighborhood market for fresh milk and dairy products. The development of transportation, refrigeration, pasteurization, and other preservation processes have increased the duration of storage of various dairy products. There are three main regions of commercial dairy farming. The largest is northwestern Europe, the second is Canada, and the third belt includes southeastern Australia, New Zealand, and Tasmania. Mediterranean agriculture. Mediterranean agriculture is highly specialized commercial agriculture. It is practiced in the countries on either side of the Mediterranean Sea in Europe and in North Africa from Tunisia to Atlantic coast, southern California, central Chile, southwestern parts of South Africa, and southwestern parts of Australia. This region is an important supplier of citrus fruits. Viticulture or grape cultivation is a specialty of the Mediterranean region. Best quality wines in the world with distinctive flavors are produced from high quality grapes in various countries of this region. The inferior grapes are dried into resins and currants. This region also produces olives and figs. The advantage of Mediterranean agriculture is that more valuable crops such as fruits and vegetables are grown in winters when there is great demand in European and North African American markets. Market gardening and horticulture. Market gardening and horticulture specialize in the cultivation of high value crops such as vegetables, fruits, and flowers solely for the urban markets. Farms are small and are located where there are good transportation links with the urban center where high income group of consumers is located. It is both labor and capital intensive and lays emphasis on use of irrigation, HIV seeds, fertilizers, insecticides, greenhouses, and artificial heating in colder regions. This type of agriculture is well developed in densely populated industrial districts of northwest Europe, northeastern United States of America, and the Mediterranean regions. The Netherlands specializes in growing flowers and horticulture crops, especially tulips, which are flown to all major cities of Europe. The regions where farmers specialize in vegetables only, the farming is known as truck farming. The distance of truck farms from the market is governed by the distance that a truck can cover overnight, hence the name truck farming. In addition to market gardening, a modern development in the industrial regions of Western Europe and North America is factory farming. Livestock, particularly poultry and cattle rearing, is done in stalls and pens, fed on manufactured feedstuff and carefully supervised against diseases. This requires heavy capital investment in terms of building machinery for various operations, veterinary services, and heating and lighting. One of the important features of poultry farming and cattle rearing is breed selection and scientific breeding. Types of farming can also be categorized according to the farming organization. Farming organization is affected by the way in which farmers own their farms and various policies of the government which help to run these farms. Cooperative farming. A group of farmers form a cooperative society by pooling in their resources voluntarily for more efficient and profitable farming. Individual farms remain intact and farming is a matter of cooperative initiative. Cooperative societies help farmers to procure all important inputs of farming, sell the products at the most favorable terms, and help in processing of quality products at cheaper rates. Cooperative movement originated over a century ago and has been successful in many Western European countries like Denmark, Netherlands, Belgium, Sweden, Italy, etc. In Denmark, the movement has been so successful that practically every farmer is a member of a cooperative. Collective farming. The basic principle behind this type of farming is based on social ownership of the means of production and collective labor. Collective farming, or the model of kolkhoz, was introduced in Israel Soviet Union to improve upon the inefficiency of the previous method of agriculture and to boost agricultural production for self-sufficiency. The farmers used to pool in all their resources like land, livestock, and labor. However, they were allowed to retain very small plots to grow crops in order to meet their daily requirements. Yearly targets were set by the government and the produce was also sold to the state at fixed prices. Produce in excess of the fixed amount was distributed among the members or sold in the market. The farmers had to pay taxes on the farm produces, hired machinery, etc. Members were paid according to the nature of the work allotted to them by the farm management. Exceptional work was rewarded in cash or kind. This type of farming was introduced in former Soviet Union under the socialist regime, which was adopted by the socialist country. After its collapse, these have already been modified. Mining. The discovery of minerals in the history of human development is reflected in many stages in terms of Copper Age, Bronze Age, and Iron Age. The use of minerals in ancient times was largely confined to making of tools, utensils, and weapons. The actual development of mining began with the Industrial Revolution and its importance is continuously increasing. Factors affecting mining activity. The profitability of mining operation thus depends on two main factors. Physical factors include the size, grade, and the mode of occurrence of the deposits. Economic factors such as the demand for the mineral, technology available and used, capital to develop infrastructure, and labor and transport costs. Methods of mining. Depending on the mode of occurrence and the nature of the ore, mining is of two types, surface and underground mining. The surface mining, also known as open cast mining, is the easiest and the cheapest way of mining minerals that occur close to the surface. Overhead costs such as safety precaution and equipment is relatively low in this method. The output is both large and rapid. When the ore lies deep below the surface, underground mining method shaft method has to be used. In this method, vertical shafts have to be sunk from where underground galleries radiate to reach the minerals. Minerals are extracted and transported to the surface through these passages. It requires specially designed lifts, drills, haulage vehicles, ventilation system for safety and efficient movement of people and material. This method is risky. Poisonous gases, fires, floods, and caving in led to fatal accidents. Have you ever read about mine fires and flooding of coal mines in India? The developed economies are retreating from mining, processing, and refining stages of production due to high labor costs, while the developing countries with large labor force and striving for higher standards of living are becoming more important. Several countries of Africa and few of South America and Asia have over 50% of the earnings from minerals alone. तो यहाँ पर ख़त्म होता है हमारा ये चैप्टर और ये है इसका एक्सरसाइज। तो अभी हम देखेंगे चैप्टर 6 सेकेंडरी एक्टिविटीज़। तो शुरू करते हैं। ऑल इकोनॉमिक activities, namely primary, secondary, tertiary, and quaternary, revolve around obtaining and utilizing resources necessary for survival. Secondary activities add value to natural resources by transforming raw materials into valuable products. Cotton in the ball has limited use, but after it is transformed into yarn, becomes more valuable and can be used for making clothes. Iron ore cannot be used directly from the mines, but after being converted into steel, it gets its value and can be used for making many valuable machines, tools, etc. The same is true for most of the materials from the farm, forest, mine, and the sea. Secondary activities, therefore, are concerned with manufacturing processes and construction of infrastructure industries. Manufacturing. Manufacturing involves a full array of production from handicrafts to molding iron and steel and stamping out plastic toys to assembling delicate computer components or space vehicles. In each of these processes, the common characteristics are the application of power, mass production of identical products, and specialized labor in factory settings for the production of standardized commodities. Manufacturing may be done with modern power and machinery, or it may still be very primitive. Most of the third world countries still manufacture in literal sense of the term. It is difficult to present a full picture of all the manufacturers in these countries. More emphasis is given to the kind of industrial activity which involves less complicated system of production. Characteristic of modern large-scale manufacturing. Modern large-scale manufacturing has the following characteristic: specialization of skills or methods of production. Under the craft method, factories produce only a few pieces which are made to order, so the costs are high. On the other hand, mass production involves production of large quantities of standardized parts by each worker performing only one task repeatedly. Manufacturing industry and manufacturing industry. Manufacturing literally means to make by hand. However, now it includes goods made by machines. It is essentially a process which involves transforming raw materials into finished goods of higher value for sale in local and distant markets. Conceptually, an industry is a geographically located manufacturing unit maintaining books of accounts and records under a management system. As the term industry is comprehensive, it is also used as synonymous with manufacturing when one uses terms like steel industry and chemical industry. One thinks of factories and processes, but there are many secondary activities which are not carried on in factories, such as what is now called the entertainment industry and tourism industry, etc. So, for clarity, the longer expression manufacturing industry is used. Mechanism. Mechanization refers to using gadgets which accomplish tasks. Automation without aid of human thinking during the manufacturing process is the advanced stage of mechanization. Automatic factories with feedback and closed loop computer control systems where machines are developed to think have sprung up all over the world. Technological innovation. Technological innovation through research and development strategy are an important aspect of modern manufacturing for quality control, eliminating waste and inefficiency, and combating pollution. Organizational structure and stratification. Modern manufacturing is characterized by a complex machine technology, extreme specialization, and division of labor for producing more goods with less effort and low cost. Vast capital, large organization, executive bureaucracy. Uneven geographic distribution. Major concentration of modern manufacturing have flourished in a few number of places. These cover less than 10% of the world's land area. These nations have become the center of economic and political power. However, in terms of the total area covered, manufacturing sites are much less conspicuous and concentrated on much smaller areas than that of agriculture due to greater intensity of processes. For example, 2.5 square kilometer of American corn belt usually includes about 4 large farms employing about 10 to 20 workers supporting 50 to 100 persons. But this same area could contain several large integrated factories and employ thousands of workers. Why do large scale industries choose different locations? Industries maximize profits by reducing cost. Therefore, industries should be located at points where the production costs are minimum. Some of the factors influencing industrial locations are as under: access to market. The existence of market for manufactured goods is the most important factor in the location of industries. Market means people who have a demand for these goods and also have the purchasing power or ability to purchase to be able to purchase from the sellers at a place. Remote areas inhabited by a few people offer small markets. The developed regions of Europe, North America, Japan, and Australia provide large global markets as the purchasing power of the people is very high. The densely populated regions of South and Southeast Asia also provide large markets. Some industries, such as aircraft manufacturing, have a global market. The arms industry also has global markets. Access to raw materials. Raw materials used by industries should be cheap and easy to transport. Industries based on cheap, bulky, and weight losing material or ores are located close to the source of raw materials, such as steel, sugar, and cement industries. Perceivability is a vital factor for the industry to be located closer to the source of the raw material. Processing and dairy products are processed close to the sources of farm products or milk supply, respectively. Access to labor supply. Labor supply is an important factor in the location of industries. Some types of manufacturing still require skilled laborers. Increasing mechanization, automation, and flexibility of industrial processes have reduced the dependency of industry upon the laborers. Access to sources of energy. Industries which use more power are located close to the source of the energy supply, such as the aluminium industry. Earlier, coal was the main source of energy. Today, hydroelectricity and petroleum are also important sources of energy for many industries. Access to transportation and communication facility. Speedy and efficient transport facilities to carry raw materials to the factory and to move finished goods to the market are essential for the development of industries. The cost of transport plays an important role in the location of industrial units. Western Europe and Eastern North America have a highly developed transport system which has always induced the concentration of industries in these areas. Modern industry is inseparably tied to transportation system. Improvements in transportation lead to integrated economic development and regional specialization of manufacturing. Communication is also an important need for industries for the exchange and management of information. Government policy. Governments adopt regional policies to promote balanced economic development and hence set up industries in particular areas. Access to agglomeration economics or links between industries. Many industries benefit from nearness to a leader industry and other industries. These benefits are termed as agglomeration economics. Savings are derived from the linkage which exists between different industries. These factors operate together to determine industrial location. Footloose industries. Footloose industries can be located in a wide variety of places. They are not dependent on any specific raw material, weight losing, or otherwise. They largely depend on component parts which can be obtained anywhere. They produce in small quantity and also employ a small labor force. These are generally not polluting industries. The important factor in their location is accessibility by road network. Classification of manufacturing industry. Manufacturing industries are classified on the basis of their size, input or raw materials, output or products, and ownership. Industries based on size. The amount of capital invested, number of workers employed, and volume of production determine the size of industry. Accordingly, industries may be classified into household or cottage, small scale, and large scale. यहाँ पर दिखाया गया है क्लासिफिकेशन ऑफ इंडस्ट्रीज, तो ये आप बाद में देख सकते हैं. Household industries or cottage manufacturing. It is the smallest manufacturing unit. The artisan use local raw materials and simple tools to produce everyday goods in their homes with the help of their family members or part-time labor. Finished products may be for consumption in the same household or for sale in local village markets or for barter. Capital and transportation do not wield much influence as this type of manufacturing has low commercial significance and most of the tools are devised locally. Some common everyday products produced in this sector of manufacturing include foodstuffs, fabrics, mats, containers, tools, furniture, shoes, and figurines from wood, log, and forest, shoes, tongs, and other articles from leather, pottery and bricks from clays and stones. Goldsmiths make jewelry of gold, silver, and bronze. Some artifacts and crafts are made out of bamboo, wood obtained locally from the forest. Small scale manufacturing. Small scale manufacturing is distinguished from household industries by its production techniques and place of manufacturing, a workshop outside the home or cottage of the producer. This type of manufacturing uses local raw materials, simple power driven machines, and semi skilled labor. It provides employment and raises local purchasing power. Therefore, countries like India, China, Indonesia, and Brazil, etc., have developed labor intensive small scale manufacturing in order to provide employment to their population. Large scale manufacturing. Large scale manufacturing involves a large market, various raw materials, enormous energy, specialized workers, advanced technology, assembly line, mass production, and large capital. This kind of manufacturing developed in the last 200 years in the United Kingdom, northeastern USA, and Europe. Now it has diffused to almost all over the world. On the basis of the system of large-scale manufacturing, the world's major industrial regions may be grouped under two broad types, namely traditional large-scale industrial regions, which are thickly clusters in a few more developed countries. Second, high-technology large-scale industrial regions, which have diffused to less developed countries. Industries based on inputs or raw materials. On the basis of the raw materials used, the industries are classified as agro based, mineral based, chemical based, forest based, and animal based. Agro based industries. Agro processing involves the processing of raw materials from the field and the farm into finished products for rural and urban markets. Major agro-processing industries are food processing, sugar, pickles, fruit juices, beverages like tea, coffee, and cocoa, spices and oils, fats and textile, cotton, jute, silk, rubber, etc. Food processing. Agro-processing includes canning, producing cream, fruit processing, and confectionery. While some preserving techniques such as drying, fermenting, and pickling have been known since ancient times, this had limited applications to cater to the pre-industrial revolution demands. Agribusiness is commercial farming on an industrial scale, often financed by business whose main interests lie outside agriculture. For example, large corporation in tea plantation business. Agribusiness farms are mechanized, large in size, highly structured, reliant on chemicals, and may be described as agro factories. Mineral based industries. These industries use minerals as a raw material. Some industries use ferrous metallic minerals which contain ferrous or iron, such as iron and steel industries, but some use non ferrous metallic minerals such as aluminum, copper, and jewelry industries. Many industries use non metallic minerals such as cement and pottery industries. Chemical based industries. Such industries use natural chemical minerals. Example, mineral oil or petroleum is used in petrochemical industries. Salt, sulfur, and potash industries also use natural minerals. Chemical industries are also based on raw materials often from wood and coal. Synthetic fiber, plastic, etc. are other examples of chemical based industries. Forest based raw material using industries. The forests provide many major and minor products which are used as raw material. Timber for furniture industry, wood, bamboo and grass for paper industry, lake for lake industries come from forest. Animal based industries. Leather for leather industry and wool for woolen textiles are often from animals. Besides, ivory is also obtained from elephants' tusks. Industries based on output or product. You have seen some machines and tools made of iron or steel. The raw material for such machines and tools is iron and steel, which is itself an industry. The industry whose products are used to make other goods by using them as raw materials are basic industries. Can you identify the links iron or steel machine from for textile industry clothes for use by consumer? The consumer goods industries produce goods which are consumed by consumers directly. For example, industries producing breads and biscuits, tea, soaps and toiletries, paper for writing, television, etc. are consumer goods or non-basic industries. Industries based on ownership. Public sector Public sector industries are owned and managed by governments. In India, there were a number of public sector undertakings (PSUs). Socialist countries have many state-owned industries. Mixed economics have both public and private sector enterprises. Private sector industries are owned by individual investors. These are managed by private organizations. In capitalist countries, industries are generally owned privately. Joint sector industries are managed by joint stock companies and sometimes the private and public sectors together. Establish and manage the industries. Can you make a list of such industries? Traditional large scale industrial regions. These are based on heavy industries, often located near coal fields and engaged in metal smelting, heavy engineering, chemical manufacture, or textile production. These industries are now known as smokestack industries. Traditional industrial regions can be recognized by high proportion of employment in manufacturing industry, high density housing often of inferior type and poor services, unattractive environment for example pollution, waste heats and so on. Problems of unemployment, immigration and derelict land areas caused by closure by factories because of a worldwide fall in demand. The Ruhr coalfield Germany. This has been one of the major industrial regions of Europe for a long time. Coal and iron and steel formed the basis of the economy, but as the demand for coal declined, the industry started shrinking. Even after the iron ore was exhausted, the industry remained using imported ore brought by waterways to the Ruhr. The Ruhr region is responsible for 80% of Germany's total steel production. Changes in the industrial structure have led to the decay of some areas, and there are problems of industrial waste and pollution. The future prosperity of Ruhr is based less on the products of coal and steel, for which it was initially famous, and more on the new industries like the huge Opel car assembly plant, new chemical plants, universities, out of town shopping centers have appeared, resulting in a new Ruhr landscape. Concept of high technology industry. High technology or simply high tech is the latest generation of manufacturing activities. It is best understood as the application of intensive research and development (R&D) efforts leading to the manufacture of products of an advanced scientific and engineering character. Professional white collar workers make up a large share of the total workforce. These highly skilled specialists greatly outnumber the actual production or blue collar workers. Robotics on the assembly line, computer aided design (CAD) and manufacturing, electronic controls of smelting and refining processes, and the constant development of new chemicals and pharmaceutical products are notable examples of a high tech industry. Neatly spaced, low, modern, dispersed official plant lab buildings rather than massive assembly structures, factories, and storage areas mark the high tech industrial landscape. Planned business parks for high tech startups have become part of regional and local development schemes. High-tech industries which are regionally concentrated, self-sustained, and highly specialized are called technopolis. The Silicon Valley near San Francisco and Silicon Forest near Seattle are examples of technopolis. Are some technopolis developing in India? Manufacturing contributes significantly to the world economy. Iron and steel, textiles, automobiles, petrochemicals, and electronics are some of the world's most important manufacturing industries. Iron and steel industry. The iron and steel industry forms the base of all other industries and therefore it is called a basic industry. It is basic because it provides raw materials for other industries such as machine tools used for further production. It may also be called a heavy industry because it uses large quantities of bulky raw materials and its products are also heavy. Iron is extracted from iron ore by smelting in a blast furnace with carbon or coke and limestone. The molten iron is cooled and molded to form pig iron, which is used for converting into steel by adding strengthening materials like manganese. The large integrated steel industry is traditionally located close to the sources of raw materials iron ore, coal, manganese, and limestone, or at places where this could be easily brought, example near ports. But in many steel mills, access to markets is more important than inputs. These are less expensive to build and operate and can be located near markets because of the abundance of scrap material, which is the main input. Traditionally, most of the steel was produced at large integrated plants, but many mills are limited to just one step process steel making and are gaining ground. Distribution. The industry is one of the most complex and capital intensive industries and is concentrated in the advanced countries of North America, Europe and Asia. In USA, most of the production comes from the North Appalachian region, Pittsburgh, Great Lake region, Chicago, Gary, Erie, Cleveland, Loren, Buffalo and Duluth, and the Atlantic coast, Sparrows Point and Morrisville. The industry has also moved towards the southern state of Alabama. Pittsburgh area is now losing ground. It has now become the Rust Bowl of USA. In Europe, UK, Germany, France, Belgium, Luxembourg, the Netherlands, and Russia are the leading producers. The important steel centers are Scunthorpe, Port Talbot, Birmingham, and Sheffield in the UK, Duisburg, Dortmund, Dusseldorf, and Essen in Germany, Le Creuset and Saint Etienne in France, and Moscow, Saint Petersburg, Lipstick, Tula in Russia, and Kryvyi Rog and Donetsk in Ukraine. In Asia, the important centers include Nagasaki and Tokyo, Yokohama in Japan, Shanghai, Tianjin, and Wuhan in China, and जामशेदपुर, कुल्तीपुर, दुर्गापुर, Raurkela, Bhilai, Bokaro, Salem, Visakhapatnam, and Bhadravati in India. Consulted at last to locate these places as centers. Cotton textile industries. Cotton textile industries has three subsectors, that means handloom, powerloom, and mill sectors. Handloom sector is labor intensive and provides employment to semi-skilled workers. It requires small capital investment. Why did Mahatma Gandhi propagate khadi as part of the independence movement? This sector involves spinning, weaving, and finishing of the fabrics. The powerloom sector introduces machine and becomes less labor intensive, and the volume of production increases. Cotton textile mill sector is highly capital intensive and produces fine clothes in bulk. Cotton textile manufacturing requires good quality cotton as raw materials. India, China, USA, Pakistan, Uzbekistan, Egypt produce more than half of the world's raw cotton. The UK, NW European countries, and Japan also produce cotton textile made from imported yarn. Europe alone accounts for nearly half of the world's cotton imports. The industry has to face very steep competition with synthetic fibers. Hence, it has now shown a declining trend in many countries. With the scientific advancement and technological improvements, the structure of industries changes. For example, Germany recorded constant growth in cotton textile industries since Second World War till the 70s, but now it has declined. It has shifted to less developed countries where labor costs are low. तो ये था हमारा आज का 2 चैप्टर और ये है इस चैप्टर का एक्सरसाइज, और इसी के साथ हमारा 2 चैप्टर ख़त्म होता है। अगर आपको डेली लाइव क्लास ज्वाइन करना है तो चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कर दीजिए और नोटिफिकेशन आइकन पर क्लिक कर दीजिए। वीडियो अच्छा लगे तो लाइक कर दीजिए। और आज का सेशन हमारा यहीं तक था। थैंक यू, थैंक्स फॉर ज्वाइनिंग।